Hello everyone, welcome back to Nandu's Equity. Whether you are a seasoned investor seeking diversification or a new investor looking to kickstart your mutual fund portfolio, you are in for a treat. Today we are going to dive into the exciting world of mutual funds where I am going to review 3 best mutual funds for this year which has been performing so well for a long term. Every mutual fund comes with very specific objective and strategy, and of course we will have our own objective to invest in any of those mutual funds. So it's very important whether our objective of investing is aligning to that particular mutual fund, then only we should be selecting, because there are multiple different themes, tax saving purpose, retirement purpose, wealth creation, like this we have. So today whatever we are going to review, I am mostly focusing on creating wealth, and it is more about like I want to create 1 crore by just investing 15,000 a month. That's one of my earlier video. To align to that, how I want to invest by selecting just 3 mutual funds. That's what we are going to see. So from that perspective, it is important to spread our investments across large cap, mid cap, small cap. And also it will be great if we can have some more exposure to foreign companies like the top companies in the US. So this would really help us in creating the wealth faster. And of course, none of these should overlap too much in between. So that way our diversification goal also will be achieved. 3 things before getting into the details of the top 3 mutual funds. I like to invest only through direct funds as it would have an edge compared to regular funds from a NAV perspective. Even if it is just 2-3 NAV points, it still makes sense for me long-term investing. So I'm not paying more brokerage to any intermediate brokers. So I like direct funds. So we want to stay invested for about 10 to 15 years until these 3 funds together yield me about 1 crore corpus. These mutual funds come under high risk category. So I'm willing to take the risk as it is going to be long term. This also means that there would be some period where it could turn negative, and I'll continue to monitor and stay invested. There has been a lot of questions about the difference between absolute returns and annualized returns. So absolute returns measure the total percentage change in the value of an investment over a specific period, whereas annualized returns provide a standardized measure of the average annual rate of return, accounting for the effect of compounding over time. For example, if you have invested 10,000 in a mutual fund and its current value say 12,000, the absolute return would be 20%. The calculation is simple. The 12,000 of our current value minus original investment divided by original investment. So you get a percentage. Same way, if we want to calculate the CAGR, is what we call compound annual growth rate. So that is something like if you have invested about 1,000 to 1,500 over 3 years, the annualized returns would be 14.47%. So these calculations I just explained because these things I'll be interchangingly using it when I'm reviewing the mutual fund. Okay, the first fund that we are going to see is a small cap fund, Nippon India Small Cap Fund. And as I said, I always like to invest in direct plan growth, and I always check these kind of mutual funds and money control website, which gives very comprehensive details about all these funds. So you can click small cap fund where it can really help you various other funds that are its peers, and also you can go to the mutual fund house for other funds as well. So why I like this fund, this is already a CRISIL ranked mutual fund, and when a particular mutual fund is ranked by these rating agencies, it gives more confidence, and the way it has been performing, and also from a fund house perspective, from various perspectives, they kind of thoroughly examine these mutual funds and rank them among other peers from the same category. So the returns perspective, if you see, it has given both, I'm just checking absolute as well as annualized returns. You can see very huge returns. If you see, like almost last 1 year itself is 56, 2 years 76. If you take absolute returns, meaning imagine if you have invested 1 lakh about 10 years ago, it is almost like given 1241 percentage, and from annualized returns it's about 29.62 percentage. So similarly, you can also look at other comprehensive details of SIP returns. Like if you have done SIP, say 1000, what would have been, how much return you would have got, you can always check. And you can compare this fund to other benchmarks, whether it is Nifty 50 or small cap 250 TRI. This is something that we need to really check. And when any fund beats this thing, is really good. That's how we have to do for the particular fund benchmark. And then they also provide a lot of other details, and particularly I'm interested in its expense ratio. If you go to the snapshot, you can check. So expense ratio is about 0.73, which is slightly higher than its category, but still good from its returns perspective. And fund size is good, 45,894 crore, means a lot of people believe in this fund and fund manager. And as I said, it's a high risk fund. And we can also check its return from 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, all that. So you can see there will be a lot of difference between its benchmark and this fund. So 1 year perspective, it is little lower, but 2 years, 5 years, and all time also it is quite high. So sometimes what people do is, like, it by default shows 1 year, and some funds may be highly beating the benchmark from a 1 year perspective, but if you look at long term, it may not be. So be careful about it. And then from a portfolio perspective, I really like the way they select the companies from a small cap. So generally we have a wrong perception that small cap fund means they will be selecting companies that are very small, like less than 5,000 market cap, or 5 to 10,000. That's not true. If you see in this fund itself, we have HDFC Bank and State Bank of India, and all other companies in the top 10 holding also not very small. Okay, so the way they have this dynamism in terms of selecting companies changes fund to fund. And you can also check the complete list of companies. Then you can really understand how they have, like for example, Tejas Network. This again a Tata company. So most of us may not be even knowing. And then if you further go, RITES is a small company, but Pfizer is not. Like this, you have a lot of different set of companies. They are literally not very small in terms of capital, but at least sizable one, where we'll have that growth quite high compared to other. So they have a dedicated team. That's why, like, we depend on mutual funds, as we do not want to take the headache. But if you see the number of companies, many companies we will not be even knowing. Of course, there are some famous companies, but I don't even know there exists a company called FBC. So like this, you will be surprised to see how they keep selecting so many different companies, and that also works well with these kind of small funds. So the second fund that we want to have is in the mid cap area, and of course we want to diversify across fund houses. The first one we saw in Nippon India, so we do not want to go in the same fund house. So HDFC mutual fund is another good fund house, and this mid cap fund is really good from various perspectives, and it has expense ratio close to its category average 0.78, and fund size is good. Like a lot of people trust this fund, and the current NAV is at 172.758. So from CRISIL rank, it is 4 rank, and I see a lot of changes from 4 to 5 here. And from a snapshot perspective, 1 year it's close to its benchmark, 2 years definitely beats the benchmark, 5 years almost close to that, all time, also really good from a benchmark perspective. And from returns perspective, amazing returns from a mid cap fund. And whether it is annualized or absolute returns, you can see it's really good. So from portfolio perspective, you see this fund has about 68 different companies, and the top holdings like Indian Hotel, Apollo Tire, Max Healthcare, Federal Bank, Tata Communication, Coforge, Indian Bank, Max Fin, Persistent, and HPCL. So you can see a number of companies in the mid-cap area, very interesting companies and quite happening companies like Dixon Technologies. So you can have a complete list of this. So you and me cannot buy all these companies, but by just holding a mutual fund, we are getting a very good diversification across so many different good companies. So the third fund I said is quite unique, which is Parag Parikh Flexi Cap Fund. Quite famous in the recent times, and I'll tell you why. So from an expense ratio, it's quite cheap, 0.58 only, and very sizable fund size. It's about 55,000 crores, and you can understand why so many people believe in this. And there is no CRISIL rank at this moment. And I believe this fund comes under the MC30. MC30 means there are 30 different funds Money Control has reviewed and ranked. So this is one of them. And from a snapshot perspective, so this scheme's always beating benchmark from 1 year, 2 year, and 5 year or all time. So this really cannot particularly comprise within any kind of benchmark. Also, I'll tell you why. Because this fund not only invests in India, it has 5 major companies from US. So if you look at its portfolio, there are 48 companies. Out of that, it mostly invests in top companies in India like HDFC Bank, Bajaj Holding, Power Grid, HCL, Coal India, Maruti, ICICI, ITC, Axis, Microsoft. So Microsoft is its top holding from the US side, but if you further go to its detailed holdings, you can find other companies. See, Alphabet is nothing but Google's parent company, Facebook, Amazon. So this is what makes this particular fund so unique, and there are so many interesting other large cap companies and mid cap companies in India. So there are so many interesting companies. So that way this particular fund becomes unique, because if we want to directly invest to any of the US companies, there are so many complications, though things are getting simplified. But yet if you look at even investing from a size perspective, like if you want to invest 5 different US companies with very small capital from our side, it's not really possible. So that particular purpose is quite well achieved with our diversification. We already saw that we captured one small cap, mid cap. This is large cap plus the US exposure, which kind of covers our diversification motto very well. So what I have done additionally, I want to show how I am diversifying with these 3 mutual funds. So if you see from the 3 funds, Parag Parikh, Nippon India Small Cap, and HDFC Mid Cap, none of the top holdings are duplicated among the 3 except the HDFC Bank. HDFC Bank is the major holding in Parag Parikh as well as in Nippon India. However, the percentage is kind of less. So this way we can really diversify across 30 companies. Like if I am buying these 3 mutual funds, it is equivalent to majorly investing in these 29 companies. Plus of course there are so many other companies in the list that we saw from each mutual fund. So the reason why I do this particular exercise is not to duplicate our investments in a similar fund. For example, if you take one more large cap that replicates almost the same like what you have here, it doesn't make any sense to me. So this way, these three funds are quite helpful in diversifying quite broadly, and we clearly achieve our diversification goal. At the same time, these are like benchmark beating mutual funds which are quite high in terms of returns as well. I often encounter this particular question that market is at all-time high. Is it really good time to start investing? Or some even ask whether they can stop their SIP of mutual funds. The answer is no. Please do not stop your SIP, and that is the real purpose. Like whether market is at high or low, we wanted to average it on a consistent manner, and we do not want to put everything at one shot in like lump sum. And of course, whenever you see more opportunities, when there is a deep correction like 10%, 20% correction, by then you either increase your SIP, or that time you can add more money with whatever you have. That way we can really leverage our overall capital. That's one thing. Second thing, we do not know. We may be thinking that this is the peak. Who knows, Sensex might hit all-time high of 1 lakh very soon down the line, like 3 years, 5 years, we do not know. So the answer is, any time that you are starting as soon as possible is a good time. We don't have to wait for market correction. If you have not watched our video on how to select a mutual fund, please watch. It's available in the description. And also one more video, 1 crore from 15,000 investments per month, is another interesting video. Please watch both of them to get more clarity on why mutual fund is good. Thanks for watching. Hope this video is useful to you. If so, please click the like button. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. Thank you.